Gunfire rang out in downtown Louisville last night between two groups of teenagers ages 13 to 16. It's our top story here at 6:30. Thanks for joining us. I'm Alex Dieterer. The altercation happened near the Big Four Bridge. WHAS11's Clarice Shaley spoke to an advocate for ending gun violence who says these incidents are all too often and continue to happen.
I was just not surprised.
Kenneth Forbes, the founder of Mothers of Murdered Sons and Daughters of Kentucky, a group against gun violence, reacting to the violent night near the Big Four Bridge Friday evening. Police say two groups of teens and young adults shot at each other and fled the area. Officers arrested three teenagers ages 13 to 16 and seized a gun. It was a busy night in downtown Louisville with a concert at the Yum Center and a game at Slugger Field.
But I was just upset because I know what our goal is with the moms group and how we're wanting to capture those teenagers that are falling through the cracks.
Forbes says he's going to more funerals for second-generation homicide, where their parent has died and now they are as well from gun violence. He says these kids aren't getting the grieving assistance they need and are falling into a revolving door of violence.
And a lot of them are angry. There's a lot of families affected by gun violence. But we are actually still dealing with those losses, even if it's 5 or almost 10 years ago.
While no injuries were reported in Friday night's altercation, Forbes has seen incidents like this go wrong before and is hoping teens will find the resources and guidance they need. In Louisville, Clarice Shaley, WHAS 11 on your side.
This week has been National Youth Violence Prevention Week in Louisville, with events centered around ending teenage violence happening all across the city. Tonight, the week ends with a gala, with awards at the recognition event that's happening right now in southern Louisville. LMPD is investigating after a juvenile was shot this morning near the Hikes Point neighborhood. LMPD responded to the shooting just before 9:30 this morning on Church Court. While officers were on their way to the scene, a boy arrived at the hospital by private means with a gunshot wound. Police say the boy was shot in the arm and is expected to survive. LMPD believes they have all parties accounted for in this case. And last night, LMPD took a suspect into custody after a deadly shooting in the Hallmark neighborhood. Officers say they received the call around 10 last night on Penway Avenue, just a few blocks down from Algonquin Park. There, officers found a man in his car with a fatal gunshot wound to the head. LMPD says they have all parties accounted for as well in this case. The Hardin County Sheriff's Office is investigating after multiple juveniles were injured following an overnight crash. The Sheriff's Office said they responded to the crash just before 2:20 this morning on St. John Road. Police say a teen was driving east on the road when they lost control and rolled over. They were ejected from the car and airlifted to Louisville, where they are currently in critical condition. Another juvenile was ejected from the car and pronounced dead at the scene. 2 other juveniles were in the car and suffered minor injuries. Today, Officer Nick Rodman was honored by LMPD members along with family and friends. Officer Rodman died 8 years ago in the line of duty on March 29, 2017. Today, his family emphasized how he was a loving husband, father, and community servant. Rodman's wife, Ashley, said that his legacy continues to make an impact today.
So much good has been done in the Louisville community in honor of Nick through the foundation we created to carry on his legacy. It is bittersweet, but I know it is something he would be proud of.
This past week, Mayor Craig Greenberg honored Rodman by renaming Windsor Park to Nick Rodman Legacy Park. The park will open later this spring. Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear is warning he may not be able to carry out nearly a dozen GOP-backed bills, citing a lack of funding. In a letter sent to legislators Thursday, Governor Beshear wrote that his office at current funding could not fulfill big changes to water regulation, occupational safety, and Medicaid. Cited Kentucky Supreme Court cases establishing limitations on policy implementations when budget appropriates are not included. Members of the Republican supermajority were strongly critical of the claims made in Beshear's letter, saying they are legally incorrect.
And let me be very clear, it is the legislature that budget, not him. When we budget, we don't line item everything. And when we don't line item something specifically or pass other bills without direct appropriations in it, it's because we feel you have the adequate funds to implement and follow the law.
Meade also argued that Beshear has found funding to implement his own agenda items in the past, specifically referencing Beshear's efforts to expand Medicaid to include dental, vision, and hearing benefits. Meade also threatened the governor's budget appropriations in the next 2 budget.
So I will say this in closing. Don't worry, Governor, because next year when we do the budget, we are going to make it abundantly clear what you can and cannot spend money on.
This is not the first time Beshear has said the legislature has underfunded a bill. Last year, Beshear said he didn't receive the funding to implement a kinship care program bill, which would help keep foster kids out of the foster care system. The auditor's office has already launched an investigation into the bill.